Have you ever noticed that Mother's Day doesn't disappoint because of what happens? It disappoints because of what you thought would happen. Last year, I talked about the Mother's Day scam. And even though no one really talks about that, think about how that gap gets even wider, not smaller, when your kids are grown. Hi, friends. Welcome to Taking Back Happy. I'm your host, Gina Granville. God's girl, retired homeschool mom of 4, empty nester, GG, essential oil and exercise enthusiast, Christian life coach, and someone who is taking back her own happy. I know many of you feel exactly like me in these midlife years, a sort of loss of direction, but you feel way too young and vibrant to sit on the porch and just watch life go by. What if you could reclaim your life, finding deep joy, renewed passion and purpose, and plenty of adventure in these midlife years? If you are ready to find your spark again, throw on those walking shoes, pop in those earbuds, and join me right here as we take back happy together. Hello, my Taking Back Happy friends. Before we get into this week's episode, let's talk about ways that we can connect with one another. The first way, the most basic way, is just to hop into the Taking Back Happy Facebook group. It's a great place to connect with other women who are taking back their own happy. If you want to go a little deeper, you can become a TBH Insider. When you become a TBH Insider, you can receive weekly emails with the latest podcast, tips on creating a happy mindset, early bird access to special offers, and encouraging Bible devos. The third way to connect and go even deeper is with a one-on-one life coaching call. So I have a special offer right now for Taking Back Happy listeners. It's a free up to 1 hour session. So hit me up for details on that one. So if we're honest, it's the gap between expectation and reality that creates so much of the hurt, especially in this season of motherhood, where you have grown children, and so much has quietly changed. Which brings me to my first point. The expectation gap gets wider, not smaller. I think the main thing that's kind of hard for us to wrap our mind around is when our kids are little, you're in their world, but when they're grown, you're adjacent to their world. You might have certain expectations, like you might expect a call first thing in the morning to wish you a happy Mother's Day. You might expect a planned visit. You at least expect a thoughtful acknowledgement. But the reality might look more like this: a late text or a rushed call or nothing at all. That's when we begin to see that the pain really isn't the day. It's not Mother's Day. It's the gap between what we hope for and what actually happens. This is where comparison can sneak in. We're looking at social media or we're looking at our friends at church and we're like, her kids threw her a brunch or they all went to church together. Why doesn't mine do that? It's hard not to compare because you have these things in mind. I used to always, and I say always loosely, but always like I expected, because it always happened. I didn't expect it because I'm owed it or whatever, but I just expected it because it always happened that way. That, at least the kids and I would go to church together or we would go to lunch together. And even as they grew up and they grew older, and they went to different churches or they sometimes didn't live in town, I still, we still would do that together. And then, things continue to change. They have their own families. They go and they see their in-laws' mom. They have their own kids and their mother. And sometimes we'd get together, sometimes we wouldn't. We kind of had, the last few years, we've had like the kind of tradition of going for a Mother's Day brunch. And that includes my daughter-in-law and myself and my mom. And it's a celebration for whoever's in town. But as people move on and do different things, we can't expect that. Our expectations are often like unspoken agreements that we make up in our own mind. But in reality, Those expectations only set us up for disappointment. Proverbs 13:12 says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick." This brings me to my second point, and this is a big one. Your role has changed, but your worth has not. Mother's Day can quietly expose an identity shift. You're no longer the center of their daily life. Ouch! That hurts a little bit, doesn't it? They may now be spouses. They might be parents themselves. They might be building their own traditions. And if you're not careful, it can feel like, did I get replaced? Do I matter the same as I used to? I want you to think about it this way. You are not being replaced. You are being repositioned. It's like a transition. You're moving from being needed to being valued, from being central to being foundational. When they're young, we're always like, oh, I want to raise independent adults. But sometimes when we get there, we struggle with that in our own mind. Their independence is actually just evidence that we did something right. This is the part where we get to decide. We get to decide through what lens we're going to view the whole Mother's Day thing, what lens we're going to view how they did or did not do something, how they did or did not call us, how they did or did not take us out to lunch, whatever it is. We get to decide on that. We get to decide, are we going to make that mean something about myself? Like, okay, oh my gosh, they didn't call me till 9 o'clock at night on Mother's Day. Does that mean they don't love me? Like our mind can go crazy with that, and we can go to like the furthest, most not true thing because I don't know, our feelings get hurt, our expectations have let us down, however you want to put it. But we get to decide what that means. We can look at it another way too. We can look at it, hey, they love me, they have a busy day, and we get to decide how we're going to view that. I, for one, am going to choose to believe that I have worth as a mother of grown children, whether they came to see me on this one made up holiday or not, right? This is just a holiday, one day a year. And that doesn't determine our worth as a mom. That doesn't determine how much one of our grown kids loves us or doesn't love us. So we get to decide. And as your kids grow up and get married and move on and have their own kids and create their own traditions, just think about it. Your motherhood didn't diminish, it actually multiplied. The seeds you planted when your kids were little are growing in their own households now. And this brings me to my third point, and this might be a little mind blowing for you, but you get to take your day back, even if no one else does. This is a very empowering shift. It's a mindset shift. So if the day doesn't come to you, if things don't go down the way that you want them to go down, you go create a beautiful day for yourself. When I heard this idea a couple of years ago, I was like, what, really? It was like Dr. Edie, and she was the one that was talking about it. And it wasn't Mother's Day, it was her birthday. But she was saying she had these expectations and she wanted the kids to do this certain thing with her. Or she wanted her husband to do this certain thing. And it wasn't coming down the way that she wanted it to come down. And so she just decided, hey, it's my birthday. And on my birthday, I'm going to create a beautiful day. I'm going to do the things I enjoy. People can join me in that or they cannot. Either way, I'm going to do the things I want to make my day special. I was kind of like, really? You can do that? It really like blew my mind. I was like, I can just plan a special day. I can plan a trip or I can get myself flowers or I can go hiking. I get to decide that. It was just so enlightening to me. So here's the thing. We want to stop waiting for the perfect version of the day. We want to release the script of how it should look. We want to decide ahead of time, no matter what happens, I'm going to honor this day. When we think about it, a lot of times we talk about this in our life coaching. We are all really awesome moms and we're all really cruddy moms sometimes. When we were raising kids, we did things really awesome and we did things not so awesome, things that we wish we had done different ways. But that doesn't take away from motherhood and the beautiful gift that it really actually is. I want you to think ahead of time, like some practical reframes, like take yourself to brunch, do something really life-giving, go for a walk on the beach, go for a hike, just take a walk in your neighborhood, be outside in nature, go outside, work in the garden, have quiet time with God. Celebrate the season that you're in, not the one you miss. I feel like so many times we spend so much time looking backwards during this season in life. When we're in that empty nest season, or almost empty nest season, we're always looking back with all those fond memories, and we are not enjoying where we are right now. And if your older self, when you're like 70 or 80 or 90, she would tell you to enjoy the moment that you're in right now, just like you go back to younger moms and people like that, and you're like, oh man, enjoy every single minute of it. Even when you're in the store and they're acting up and doing all the crazy stuff, enjoy it, because before you know it, you're going to blink your eye and that whole season of young motherhood is going to be over with. If you think about it, this isn't settling. It's leading yourself well. You're not just sitting there pining away, hoping someone's going to call you, hoping someone's going to invite you to do something. You're really no longer just the recipient of the day. You're the curator of it. You're the one that's planning it. You're the one that's making it awesome. And that doesn't mean you can't change your plans if one of the kids calls you up and you'd rather do something with them, or invite them to do something that you're doing, or do both. You get to decide. I don't want you to miss this truth. Joy doesn't come from being celebrated. It comes from how you choose to show up for yourself, to show up for other people, to show up and celebrate the day, or not celebrate the day, however you decide you want to do it. So my Taken Back Happy friends, maybe this is the real invitation of Mother's Day in this season. Not to measure your worth by who called you, who showed up, or how closely the day matched that picture you had in your mind. Yes, expectations may shift. Yes, your role has changed. And yes, some years the Mother's Day may not unfold the way you hoped it would. But none of that has the power to diminish who you are. Your worth was never in being needed every single minute. Your value was not dependent on someone else's ability to celebrate you well. The love you poured out mattered. The seeds that you planted, they still matter. And the life that you built as a mother is still bearing fruit, even though it looks a little different now. So this year, you get to decide. You get to decide what lens you're going to view this day through. You get to decide whether disappointment will define it or whether gratitude will redeem it, and you'll see the joy in it. You get to decide that your joy will not be held hostage by someone else's actions, their timing, their awareness, any of that kind of stuff. And if no one else creates the day that you hope for, then you get to honor yourself enough to create it any way that you want to. Because this isn't about waiting to be celebrated. It's about recognizing that you already are. Take back the day, take back the narrative, take back your mindset, and most importantly, take back your happy. If this podcast blessed and encouraged you today, I'd love for you to share it with your friends. You can take a screenshot and share it in your stories, but make sure you tag me at Gina Granville so we can connect. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you join my Taken Back Happy Facebook group. I'll meet you back here soon, and we'll continue taking back happy together.